I know.
Right.
Are we on?
We are on.
Thank you.
Chairman.
I'd like to call to order this meeting, the Broome County Industrial Development Agency of November 20th, 2024. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of our October 16th, 2024 board meeting.
I have a comment on those minutes. I just noticed it yesterday. There was no representative from Regan at the meeting. They were only at governance. And it lists the two
Oh,
Regans.
you're right, they did leave.
They
by-
were not at the meeting.
Subject to that correction,
Yes. we
which
will
will
make that correction.
follow
Yeah.
the formal minutes, is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to our public comment session. Anybody wishing to speak on any matter concerning the IDA, please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes, John.
Thank you very much. You're very congenial all the time, I must say.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, nice to be here. I brought this before the governance committee. Some of you weren't here. And I want to talk about the disconnect between the website and your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the makeup of the board and the makeup of the team. I think it's rather obvious. I think you're all smart people. You can understand what I'm getting at, and you can read the meetings of the governance committee for further edification. I gotta hand it to the Martuskas. I love them. They're nice people. They put in a furnace for me when they're just young kids. But no, and it's very clever. One would not think that you could get a tax break for building out office space. I mean, I got, I just, because I looked at the amount and I said, well, what the heck is this? This is a paltry amount. And I came here and I got educated. It's been very interesting. So I give them credit for their attention to detail and outright cleverness in securing that. And I wonder if anybody with vacant office space now, maybe there'll be a rush on it, on getting into the welfare line. This agency does not create a level playing field. Imagine yourself a businessman and you just don't want to get involved what Mark Molinaro called red tape. You don't want to get involved in the bureaucratic mess, and you just want to run your business. Well, unfortunately, what are you competing against? You're competing against the agency, special favors, and now it's gotten so bad that there's cash handouts. Cash handouts. Imagine, it's not productive. Now, the future, and I believe that every organization should have someone that would concentrate on the future. And the future is this: as far as transfer payments, forget about it. If there's something, this whole economy here is functioning on government waste. $80 million, $100 million into an airport with one flight a day. So anybody that's on the ball in any kind of agency that is dependent upon transfer payments, and I know there's a difference between state and federal, but the state gets the money from the federal. I think a new way of doing business and new planning should be involved in saying, hey, this gig is up. We've got to find different ways of dealing with it because it is going to be a complete change. Probably the most drastic change in the form of transfer payments for projects and for research that you've ever seen. I was intrigued by Stacy's comment. She answered a question at the last meeting, just back from battery convention, that we are not a battery producer, but we're a battery packaging, I guess she called it. That's news to the people that I know down in Australia that invested their life savings in Magnus Energy on the promises of IM3 New York. Believe it or not, there's hundreds of people that have lost their life savings. And down there, Magnus, of course, is being investigated by the Australian regulators. But more importantly, there's money unaccounted for in that project. And it's interesting because there's corresponding companies. There's corresponding companies that are run by Shailesh Upreti that may have been funded by IM3 funds. But the bottom line is this: if you're talking about being business friendly, Magnus Energy put $90 million into IM3 and they're locked out of the building and they can't get an accounting. And IM3 New York sold intellectual property in the open market, and now an insurance company is suing on that basis. So, you know, this is an example of what you have when you have economic development run wild. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Would anybody else like to speak at this public comment session? We'll call this session to a close. Executive Director, Stacy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a few updates, a few project closings this month. We've recently worked on signed the final closing documents for Homestead on Brand. That is Regan Development's project in the village of Johnson City. We are also in process of closing Town and Country, the redevelopment of those apartments in the city's north side. We expect those to be done by end of month. In process, we are working on the closing docs for Raymond Corporation pilot. I think we're waiting on labor notification for that, as well as our initial 25% fee. As well, Nipen Trading Center, we're waiting on labor notification and 25% fee on that as well. Outstanding Crowley Lofts have made their installment payment to us, which is a new policy we have on closing. With our projects, they have made their third installment. This project is about 14 months outstanding. We have not closed. Their full payment fee would be required to us by March of 25. So we're tracking that one closely. Some not so great news on an existing project is Shenago Empire, which is a student housing project in the city of Binghamton. Has outstanding pilot payments owed. This is new information to us, so we are working on tracking those payments down to the relevant taxing jurisdiction. So we're staying on top of that one. Some initiatives we have been working on at the regional level. We have our Southern Tier Clean Tech Corridor presentation with Newmark. That is December 5th. You should have a small invite. I strongly encourage, this has been a really worthwhile effort for us. Newmark Global Strategies, which does economic development consulting as well as traditional site selection, has provided a very comprehensive, we just got the final report. We will be sending that out to the board. A very comprehensive overview of our current industry sector that we're calling clean tech, which is very broad intentionally, on current strengths and weaknesses, as well as market opportunities in manufacturing specifically. They've also provided us a very detailed assessment of a number of sites that we've provided forward to them for review, wearing their traditional site selector hat. One of the sites that they have reviewed is the proposed location for the Brim Tech Park, which they recognize is at a very early stage and doing a lot of analysis, but they do consider that to be a competitive site for the region moving forward. So they are going to be doing a public presentation on December 5th at the SUNY Broome Culinary School. So please come if you can. And we are working very fast and furiously on an application to New York State for what is called On-Ramp, which is a regional workforce development initiative, again, specifically tying training and education to advanced manufacturing companies in the region. So if successful, myself and Dr. Bill Mullaney, who's president of SUNY Corning Community College, are co-chairing this effort. If we are successful, we will first receive a $300,000 planning grant. Our on-ramp model proposes a hub and spoke model with a hub facility being located in the greater Binghamton area. One of the goals of on-ramp is to locate this in an area of historic disinvestment. So we have a few locations in mind for that. And as well as spoke models with consortium-based partnerships in the Elmira and Ithaca areas. The benefit of having a central hub is sort of that one-stop model where not only training and education can happen, but also a number of those wraparound services and support services for individuals can be co-located. So a unique concept put forth by the state. We are working on the final details of this, which is due on December 2nd. So more to come on that. Just very quickly, Broome Tech Park updates. We're still working with landowners on some of the due diligence, environmental reviews and land surveys are underway. We are in a very active schedule of studies, so there's towards our generic environmental impact statement. So everything that we approved in our final scoping document for seeker is now happening in real time. So we're doing traffic impact, air impact, groundwater analysis. I think there were 15 to 20 areas of study. That's all happening now. We do not expect that to be complete until early mid to late first quarter of next year. So while we're doing the homework, if you will, now of really understanding the impact of this, we're also doing an economic impact analysis so we can start to talk about potential tax benefits, revenue generation from this. We don't expect all those studies to be complete for a few more months. We are finalizing a preliminary site plan, which we hope to start to get out more publicly in the months ahead. We certainly would like to present those to the towns and the county and the board, so look for invites on that, but it's moving well, and we hope to present a very dynamic plan for the future.
Thank you, Stacy. Any questions for Stacy?
Just a couple. On the Shenango project downtown, how far are they behind on their pilot? Do you know?
I know the dollar amount, I don't.
I was wondering how
yeah.
many months or,
It's been
2 school payments
and
a city and.
so they just started to fall behind.
yeah, well, so it would be fall of
Last year.
fall of 23, fall of 23, fall of 24. And then, so we don't bill, so this comes to us typically through the county.
Right.
Okay.
So
So it's
we will.
About
So it's one full school, 2 full school years,
Oh, 2 full school years.
one full city county.
Where
billing.
is that project? Which
The
one?
press building?
Oh,
So, does the county, so we just got notified by the county on this?
Actually, the school, BOCES from the
Yeah,
school.
I'm surprised why the county would notify us, like, we should work that out, so we get notified
Yeah,
immediately.
Early,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rather than
It's
get
usually
left behind.
the larger impact when this occurs is, often is of course on the school districts.
districts.
And typically it's when they're doing their budgeting cycle that a lot of this will come.
They realize, right, they haven't got
Come
paid.
to light.
I
So
know
we'll
taxes-
stay on top of that.
Taxes have priority over bank liens. Do pilot programs have priority?
No.
Okay, well,
We'll stay on top of that one.
all right, okay, well, I mean, it's,
The pilot expires in 26, so we certainly have action we can take.
Well, we're live here. Any other questions for Stacy?
last year, okay.
Moving on to the revised, I believe it is financial report, correct?
Yes, the reason for the revision, if you go into salary and comp, something seemed off, and it was, we are not over on salary and comp. So what the numbers that were erroneous was just budgeted through, our financials. So if you look at it side by side, you will see that we are actually under budget in both of those areas in salaries and benefits. So, oversight, we wanted to make sure we corrected that.
Good idea.
With, yes, I said, we are definitely not over, so, I don't have the original right in front of me. I think the original showed us over by 41,000 on salary, but we are not, we are actually under by 61,000. And correspondingly with, benefits, as they are tied together. So just wanted to make sure you had the accurate information there,
Any
sorry.
questions for Stacy on the financial report?
No, is this where I can ask about the tech park?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. everyone's like-
So I was just looking, this most recent one, right, the planning and design allocation went down. And I see the fast grant is more than, what was that an allocation?
So that is, that amount you see at the bottom, the fast grant
Yeah.
total, that would be the total of eligible expenses that, so we can, right now, we have a $500,000 reimbursable grant that we won't really be reimbursed to until the end of this process. That is actually the amount of all eligible expenses.
Rather than put that number in there, how about put in excess of 500,000?
Okay.
Just so that it is.
Yep.
That would
I
help,
gotcha.
yeah, okay.
It leads
Yeah.
one to believe they can collect, we can collect 800,000.
Okay.
Understood, yeah,
So-
yeah.
Okay.
So the planning, the design work, it's all been done, right? Or I mean, not all of it, but we'd spent 800,000
Yeah.
last month, so it didn't go down. Right?
No.
Yeah,
No,
okay, all right,
no,
so you got, all right. I was confused there.
Oh, so keep going. Yes, yeah, and Teresa and I are, and now they're finalizing a cash flow statement on this, which we will get out to the board. We did get word, yeah, we cannot request reimbursement until the state considers this project done. We would consider that at the time of when we are able to actually make a formal site plan application. So we're considering this phase one. I will note, we don't know if we'll be approved, but we've had some productive conversations. We have requested the state consider a second FAST award, for us to address costs related to doing, a New York State Independent System Operator capacity study. That was something that was not budgeted for. It was, but we feel it's very prudent for us to do to understand the full depth of energy capacity at the site over a extended period of time. So if we want to make this a site attractive to high, tech manufacturing, power is going to be the most critical component of that. So we felt it was prudent, to do that study. The energy team, led by Bill Flynn at Harris Beach has really got us moving forward with that. So, again, we've had some productive conversations with the state,
Casey, would
recognizing-
an energy study like that have comparisons to other potential locations? Because it'll support, from everything I've heard, this would support
Yeah,
why we're going here.
that's a good question, and I'm learning the ISO process. Joe, you may.
Yeah, well, I mean, what
better.
you wanna encourage them to do is not maybe just that site, but, you know, what inflows
broader-
are coming into that site, cause it'll tell you, you know, a circumference area and how you're stacking up, you know what I'm saying?
So it does sort of give you some.
Yeah, you know, you
comparison,
kinda
gives you the
wanna-
Radius.
Yeah, nicely expand the borders of it.
Okay.
Because it'll
If they're
highlight,
paying for it, then you'll get some nice information.
Yeah.
to you. Yeah.
No, that's a great question.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot about the ISO process. And just another note, on December 3rd, we are having on the chamber side, our annual legislative breakfast with Kevin Lanahan, VP of External Affairs for the ISO, who's aware, we've had conversation, who's aware that we're pursuing this study. I think it's a good time. We're getting in,
Sure.
we're getting in now. I think that the getting in now, it's a lengthy process, the ISO capacity study. It doesn't preclude us from, any activity, because we're looking over at a 10 to 15 year period, how much power could we potentially bring to the site? So it doesn't negate existing power now. So, I will say again, both Newmark and NICEAG in preliminary conversations have identified this as a nice site, for manufacturing from the current power infrastructure
Yeah,
there. So
really.
anything we can do to enhance that will benefit us.
So we're talking about then after the seeker, we're gonna bring preliminary plans to the different towns, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, so right now, the studies we're doing are in many ways informing the site plan development. I mean, we have a preliminary, site plan we're tweaking and finalizing that we will begin to go public with. Maybe maybe not till after the first of the year, but in that timeframe. So the studies are informing that, to some degree. One of the next critical steps would be to prepare a site plan application, which is also going to be when we request a rezone. But we want to get all of that information and have a comprehensive view.
Yeah,
of
that was the
this
question I was gonna
before
ask. So at some point, we're up against that wall of the zoning issue. So,
So we have to, so certainly we want the study to inform why we're requesting that rezoning. So I think the economic impact analysis will be critical because it will look at job creation, it will look at, increase in tax revenue to the towns. It will look at, ancillary benefits to, to nearby, users, businesses, et cetera. Infrastructure, et cetera. So it'll also look at the cost of services so we can mitigate as well. So, yeah, so.
Well, I think that's good. I mean, that's pivotal. I mean, it's good to have that issue dealt with.
Yeah.
Earlier rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, we don't wanna prepare any site plan application without all of that work being done. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's that's, I don't wanna put a timeline on it, but.
No, I was
that's
just
still
curious
several
because
months away.
My thought was if we went to the town of Maine with a site plan and they just said, we're not gonna look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering how we.
Look at a solar farm.
So, yeah, so we, but yeah.
You see what's
so
going on
it's
down at
moving.
Dickinson, you'll have a war.
Any other questions?
Anything.
On the financial report? You've all had a chance to look at the loan activity reports as of October 31st. Any questions for Natalie on those?
I have one question, I don't know if it, Antonio Gelato.
Yep.
I see he applied for an LLC under a different name. And it's a gelato based business.
Well,
Do we
he's-
have rights to that equipment, right?
We absolutely have rights, and we have, sued him individually, because he guaranteed, even though
I thought.
all the documents were in his. As we always do,
Right.
in that kind of situation, we require.
I saw that in the legal section.
Any other questions?
Thank
What
you.
are we gonna do with a gelato machine?
Try to sell it.
Yeah,
That corner.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Put it on eBay.
that's dessert for lunches.
So we got
He's still not communicating. I just don't understand why he doesn't
I
communicate.
don't know, nothing.
It's not a substantial amount of money.
Is the building, subject?
We didn't have a position on the bill, unfortunately, just the gelato.
I didn't do that one, sorry.
It seems like you're on a.
Moving on to new business, item number 6, resolution accepting an application from Square Deal Partners LLC. The company for a leaseback transaction to facilitate the financing of the renovation and equipping of the property and building at 400 Riverside Drive, located in the Village of Johnson City, Broome County, New York, to provide for a sales and use tax exemption benefit in an amount not to exceed $355,542, to provide for a mortgage tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $119,000, provide for a real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $4,002,710, and authorizing the agency to set and conduct a public hearing with respect thereto. Mayor,
The governance committee, moves it forward as a motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Any discussion? I believe everybody, maybe Joe didn't hear the whole shtick.
Right, I read it all. I'm good.
You
with it.
comfortable with
Yep, yep.
No further discussion. Let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Item number 7, resolution authorizing the executive director to select an architect and engineering firm for the redevelopment of land located at 600 Main Street in the town of Union, Broome County, New York, and to enter into an agreement with respect thereto. Mayor,
Governance moves it forward as a motion to approve.
thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Mike. Stacy, repeat, who are you recommending you move forward with the
Yes,
negotiation?
so, we're recommending, Ramble, which has brought on their team, it's a team of Ramble and La Chase, for this purpose.
Okay, any,
Yeah, was there any other local people or?
So we received 5, responses, they were from Colliers, Labella, Hunt, and Delta Engineers.
Good, good.
any further questions for Stacy? Let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Item number 8, resolution accepting an application from Marchuska Productions LLC and authorizing a New York State New York State and local sales, the use tax exemption in the amount not to exceed $15,664 for a term not to exceed 12 months, consistent with the policies of the agency in connection with the renovation and equipping of the property and building located at 49 Port Street in the city of Binghamton, county of Broome, and state of New York. Mayor.
Governance Committee number 4 was a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. 1 second. Thank you, Jim. Any discussion on this? Let's have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Communications report.
That's me.
That's you.
So I
Communicate.
put this in your packet so that I don't talk your ear off, so I'm gonna go through it, but I might gloss over some of the points. So this is for Q3. Reader has provided me with information up to October, and anything extra was stuff that I could look up on my end. Let's see. So Reader Marketing continues to assist us with strategic ad placement. For Q3, they manage targeted display ads, LinkedIn campaigns, and search engine marketing campaigns for the agency. Our LinkedIn numbers have been hitting record highs with this program-specific marketing. And below is kind of a recap of our social media. Our Facebook gained 4 followers this quarter. Our Instagram gained 10, and our LinkedIn gained 20. And we did not have a Broome Tech Facebook page prior to me speaking, so we have 197 followers as of right now. On the next page, those are some of our targeted display creatives. We are currently running the one with the cat on it. That one is going away pretty soon. We have some new creative on the queue for next month, I believe. Our campaign averaged a 0.15% click-through rate from July through September. Since it is relatively newer, it is a lower click-through rate than usual, but it's because it's not the full measured amount that we're used to. Our SEM campaign performance is continuing to grow substantially. This quarter, it averaged a 6.38 click-through rate, which is about 6 times industry standard. The next page is the cat again. I promise it's going away. We're getting a new one. The click-through rate for that is 0.39%. And again, it hasn't had a full lifespan on our LinkedIn ad runs. So typically they're at 0.65, but we're relatively ahead for where we are in the timeline. Our previous ad though had a click-through rate of 1.39, which is very good. So on the next page is some of our Google ad keywords. No, it's not. I lied to you. It is some of our LinkedIn who is looking at our advertisements. So for the member job functions, our top 3 job functions that are clicking on our ads are business development, sales, and administrative roles. And the job titles for these folks are owners, presidents, and chief executive officers. Those are our top 3. And the next page is our Google keywords. And the top 3 performing keywords and phrases that bring us to our platforms are starting a business, business in New York, and best business locations. Those are our top 3. And on the side there, it's really small, but those are some other keywords that lead you to our site. I added in on the next few pages some Broome Tech Park website analytics. These are new because our website is relatively new. Our most viewed page is our homepage on that website. It pretty much has everything on there, so it is going to be the one that people live on the most, but there are about 57% engagement rate, with 1,384 views. Our public engagement materials are where we put our resources after we have like an in-person meeting or a webinar, we put the recording, everything that happens and we have materials for, we put it there. That has an 82.2 engagement rate with 181 views. So 90% of them, 82% of people actually, who are going onto that page are clicking on things and interacting with it. And then 97.9 for engagement rate is on the news section. So out of the 112 viewers, 97% of them are clicking through and going on those news stories. And the average time spent on these pages is about 2 minutes. On the next page, the graphs are small and I do apologize. The first little graphic is the acquisition channels. So how are people getting to the website? The highest percentage is people are directly looking up broomtechpark.com, which we like to see. 21%, so our next biggest is referral. So most likely from our website, the agency website, and through our emails. 17.7% organically search Broome Tech Park, not necessarily our link directly, but they look up the phrase and that's how they get to our website. And then 0.8% from social media and 0.5% are other or undefined. There have been a lifetime amount of 1.1 thousand views on the website. The peaks for our website views were on August 22nd, September 13th, and November 6th. A lot of these coordinate with emails that go out and important dates in the tech park process. On the next page is kind of a recap broken down per month of our targeted displays, our LinkedIn and our SEM. This was direct from Rieger. I could go through it, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. If you have any questions, please. And on the last page, it has our open rate and our click-through rate of our most recent emails and newsletters. I have deciphered, we have our agency newsletters which go out, but then we are now starting to do some tech park newsletters. So I differentiated those there. Our top performing one was our most recent Tech Park November newsletter, which had 69.1% open rate, which was 566 people, and 16.5% click-through rate, which was 135 people. The open rate national average is 21.3%, and the click-through rate is 2.6%. So that email performed quite well. And I don't have Google Analytics for the agency website in this packet. My computer will not recognize me as a human for that, so I'm working with IT to get that for next time, so we can have Tech Park and agency website analytics.
Meg, can you talk a little bit about the survey? I'm thinking now, I didn't bring this up in my report.
Yes,
But Ziggy, you're gonna get a media release shortly in a little bit
Yes.
about a survey we are gonna be posting to the broomtechpark.com website. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes, so we have a survey that it will be, like she said, in the press release on our website. And we will be mailing out a postcard of this survey to residents in the surrounding areas. It's pretty general questions. It's asking input on people's opinion towards a potential tech park in the area. It's really looking to see what people's thoughts are, where they're getting their information from as well. We are offering them a space to say, do you follow our website? Do you follow our social media? Where are you getting your resources on the project? And then please connect with us if you are not getting them directly from us. So it's going out today. And it'll be relatively shortly after this meeting.
Just continuing to find ways to reach as many people as we can through different multimedia outlets. So we will also look at some digital displays. It's short digital ads that we can direct people to. The website, I just want to give Meg and Lauren White, our intern who helped us develop the Tech Park website. I happened to do a call with a local media outlet who was very appreciative of the amount of content on that website. They thought it was a great way to keep track of what was happening. Our newsletter actually generated the call to me to do the story, which is, I think, through, going out next week through the Business Journal. So, you know, continuing to find ways to get up to date and accurate information out to the community on this project.
Well done. Any further questions?
Just one question, on the report. So this is great. I mean, it shows a click through and that, which I think tells the story. The question I always have, is there any way of gearing how many people,
Conversion.
you know, call and actually call us and ask for information or
No.
want to set up a meeting? I mean, that's like kind of the final step on if this is actually working is, did they actually call? I want to see a pamphlet. I want to see,
I mean, we.
or can we have a meeting to talk?
Yeah, I mean, we do have, I think on all our pages, all our internal pages, we have a contact us prompt.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You know, and yeah, so it's been hard to gauge. I mean, the only other way we could do it is to have some call to action where they actually have to download or provide like on our resources page, if we post a report, to access it, you actually have to enter your name and email address, so we know who's
Yeah.
Yeah,
download. It's harder with that, cause what would they, so we have the prompts to just contact us, but.
Or if somebody calls you, how did you hear about us? Did
Yeah,
you,
well, often.
did you see us online or did you, what, did they see all these things that we have on LinkedIn or whatever? That might be a way to gauge it too. How did you hear of us?
Yeah, for sure. And we will be doing a lot more in the year ahead. You know, it's been a challenging market for the loan environment. There's just not a lot of activity regionally, but we'll be doing a lot of marketing on our loan funds, and we may be able to do some ways to try some conversion tactics there, because it's a very specific call out. Contact us about, loan
Yeah,
funding,
right.
so maybe there's a way we can test that out, some sort of conversion metric.
Well, the good news, people are looking, so that's a start,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the first step.
yeah, Mike's done a terrific job on all of this, especially with the tech park, it's all new, so, getting a lot of good information out there.
Any further comments or questions? Looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss the sale of property.
So move.
Joe. In second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?